Hi everyone, and happy Pride. On behalf of all of us at the Circle, it is my great pleasure to celebrate and support our friends and students in the LGBTQ community. If you've been a course student for some time, you may know that the primary goal of the course is to lead us to a place where we have the inward ability to see God's holiness in all things. From a course perspective, we are all holy, we are all equal, and we all have the same eternal dignity and worth. And so from a course perspective, it's always Pride. But as we take this time to honor our LGBTQ community, it feels important to us here at the Circle to also take a moment and clear up a fairly common misperception of material that appears near the beginning of the course. In the first chapter of the text, under Miracle Principle 18, there's a line that says, homosexuality is lacking in love only to the extent that it is based on the principle of exclusion. This line creates a lot of confusion, and so I want to unpack it a bit. For starters, even at such an early point in the course, it's clear that a miracle is primarily defined as an expression of love. And Miracle Principle 18 begins by stating that to love each other, to offer a miracle, is the maximal service one person can render to another. It's a way of recognizing their infinite value and our own at the same time. But if we withhold our love from someone else, then both their worth and our own becomes limited in our eyes. And so when Miracle Principle 18 says that homosexuality is lacking in love only to the extent it is based on the principle of exclusion, that's a massive statement. Because what's being said here is that there is nothing wrong except that if you only love your own gender, then you're excluding others, and so it's not universal love. And that's it. As the principle goes on to say, everybody should love everybody. And so in the following sentence of the principle, where the Course says it is wrong to deny the beauty of some souls because of body structures of which you are afraid, this is not a judgment against same-sex relationships. Bill Thetford, co-scribe of the Course, was gay, and Jesus never condemned him for that. What that sentence means is that so often we make judgments based on how people look, what we like about their body and what we don't, but we're being called to something so much higher. The interesting thing about all the sex material in the Course is that Jesus is basically saying everybody's getting it wrong because we're all doing the same thing. We're all constantly taking our true will to express love and shrinking it and distorting it into sexual impulses. And so in the next paragraph of the principle, where the Course says heterosexual attitudes can be similarly distorted but do contain a more natural potential, what he's saying there is that heterosexual attitudes are also distorted because they exclude people from love too, but they contain a more natural potential for bearing children, which is not a statement of preference, it is just a statement of biology. Heterosexual relations have the physical ability to produce children, and the paragraph continues on to say that sex relations are intended for having children, much to our collective disappointment, I'm sure. But the Course isn't just being Puritan. It's saying that viewing each other through the lens of sexual impulse just isn't the highest rung on the spiritual ladder. As I mentioned before, we're being led on this path to see through the lens of universal love, to see God's holiness in all things, to see with vision. And we have so much work to do to get there, but it's wonderful that we can take this time to celebrate the work that has already been done, thanks to the efforts of so many LGBTQ friends and supporters. We love you, and we hope that you have a wonderful Pride.